her own betrayal than what had happened with her daughter. And one more thing, Nancy, when children go missing and you interview the parents, there's two things you look for. You look for whether or not they're bonded with the child, whether or not they show concern. In this case, Jennifer shows absolutely no concern. And then you also look for details, credible details. When the child was last seen, what they were wearing, why. There's so many details missing. I mean, she didn't know what her daughter was wearing. Her boyfriend apparently left the house super early Monday morning to take the little girl to school. Well, I think we know at this point the little girl was deceased, but the mother seems to have no understanding about that.
Wait, pause. Dr. Bethany Marshall, Maddie Soto wasn't just the deceased. She was strapped in to mommy's boyfriend's car in a seatbelt, dead, propped up to look like she was alive because he knew he had to drive past an apartment camp, okay? And he would be mini camps, and he would be spotted. So let me get the visual through to you. She's dead, a 13-year-old little girl, propped up like she's alive, like this.
Lucky, really.
Okay, so you take it from there. And mom's like, yeah, you just showed me how many was.
Those photos and videos, we haven't even been able to air the content that was released because reading these files and these documents that have been released by police and the sheriff's office, they're hard to even read. The details involved include him, as you said, oftentimes she appeared to be asleep. He was, inserting his in her mouth, inserting his in her areas, many of those times again while she appeared to be asleep or under a blanket.
Can I say Bethany, please? Dr. Bethany Marshall. And get ready, Philip Dubé, defense attorney. I'm coming to you next. Dr. Bethany, isn't it true that it is a common tactic of victims to pretend they're asleep in hopes that will make the molester go away. Excuse me. Go away. They just pretend to sleep, and then they continue in that somnambulent
if anyone ever touched my kid
state or pretend state
blessed me with children
to remove themselves from what's really happening to their body.
You hear me?
Yes, Nancy, it starts out as just simply playing dead. Then the trauma is so severe that they begin to dissociate, to separate from themselves. And in the final stage, the sexual abuse survivors describe that as children, they would float up to the ceiling and look down on the scene as they were being and the sad thing, too, Nancy, is mother was in the bed at the same time that all of this was happening, and we don't yet know what her involvement was in this. I think this guy was such a prolific offender, as intrafamilial offenders are. On average, they offend 344 times against each child because they have access to them as opposed to somebody at school or in a different environment. But I would imagine he was trying to have sex with his girlfriend, with Jennifer, in front of the little girl, just in the hopes that he was the little girl or her. That's how disturbed this guy really is.
Fucking nonsense.
I want you to hear Jennifer Soto in her own words. Listen.
I said, you guys, I need a good night's sleep. I need to take my meds. I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom so that I could get a good night's sleep. Suggested that we all sleep together in the same bed together, but not the easiest person to sleep with. She rolls around, she punches, she kicks.
Robin Drake is joining me, behavior expert, and I've just got to tell you this. A lot of times I see talking heads, I'm like, what are they saying? That doesn't even make any sense. Drake, behavior expert, why? Former FBI special agent. Wait for it. Chief of the FBI Counterintelligence Behavior Analysis Program and author of, okay, you've got a spy book, Unbreakable Alliances, a spy recruiters, blah, blah, blah. But the one I like, that's available October 28th, is Sizing People Up, a veteran FBI agent's manual for behavior prediction. Now, Robin, thank you for being with us. And Bethany, weigh in on this. And I can't wait to get to the defense attorney, Philip Dubé. But Robin, I have looked and looked and watched, even stopped it and looked at the mother, Jennifer Soto, who now is saying, upon asking, didn't even put it out there, do you have any pregnancy tests at home? She goes, what? Yeah, I haven't even checked to see if those are missing. Raising the specter that this child could be pregnant, because we all know that once a pregnancy occurs, the woman's life is in so much more danger, even in a marital setting, much less this setting. Because if she had become pregnant, then it would no longer be a secret, and he would be outed. Now, what would he do to keep that from happening, Drake? Because Soto's his meal ticket. He lives between her house and his mother's basement. Please.
By hook or by crook.
So, did you watch her? Did you see her behavior as she's talking about sending her daughter off to sleep with her boyfriend? And when the sheriff goes, you got any pregnancy tests at home? And she doesn't miss a beat.
Dr. Bethany hit everything so accurately on this one, and that is, not only was the daughter trying to survive by disassociating, but so is the mother. This is the most abhorrent case I think we've ever covered, Nancy. It's just befuddling about how strongly she compartmentalized. This is Jennifer, and disassociate herself from the reality. And every time she was confronted with a truth, a fact, her reality kept crashing.
How many was it, Jackie? Hold on, Hannah McKenzie. How many thousands of images were found on boyfriend's phone? I would say sex related, but they're actually of him videoing himself, Maddie, the 13-year-old little girl. How many?
There are photos and videos, countless on his phone, and on one USB that was seized, thanks to his father turning it in, there were 35,000 images of child conduct, and none of those were on his phone.
Can I see Hannah McKenzie? I don't want to see him.
0,000 of
Start
children.
from where you said 25,000. Right, just start right there.
What is wrong with this earth?
On Stephen Stern's USB that his father turned into police, they found 35,000 videos and photos of.
I just don't even want to.
That was on one USB.
These things, man.
Hannah McKenzie.
I do.
I learned in court that silence can be just as powerful as hearing some lawyer babble on and on. See, my ear played a trick on me. I thought you said 25. You just said 35. 35,000 videos and or still images of what?
Child, and that was just on one USB. That's not even including the photos and videos he had of Maddie on his cell phone.
Photos and videos of what? Her blowing out the birthday candles, her in front of the Christmas tree, her on her birthday.
All kinds of shit, man.
Photos and videos of what, Hannah McKenzie?
Kept crashing down. And I guarantee you, this is not his first rodeo doing this horrendous acts to children, because he was so comfortable with not only abusing this girl and raping this girl, but he seemed to be so comfortable with killing her. It's just amazing. And so is Jennifer. She seems so comfortable in this lie that she's lived that she can be surrounded by horrendousness and seek to dissociate and compartmentalize away from it so effectively. It's horrendous.
Philip Dubé joining me, renowned attorney with the LA County Public Defender's Office. You know what that means? He's in court all the time, just like a prosecutor is in court all the time. A defense attorney is in court, especially a PD, public defender, like 24/7, 365. Philip Dubé, what do you think about that affect of Mommy? Did you see her? Have you watched the video? She's like, yeah, those pregnancy tests, what happened to them?
I think in Jenn's mind that her little angel is everybody's angel, and that she would assume that the entire world is her daughter's guardian angel, and she was just so unsuspecting and unwary of what was happening in her little Walter Mitty mind.
Bethany, help me out.
In 50% of all cases where children are molested, there's what we call a bystander in the household, a teenager, a cousin, somebody who sees everything but says nothing. In a fifth of all those cases, the bystander is the mother. Okay, this is the mother here. One of the reasons mothers do this, besides the fact that they're not bonded with their children, is that they're afraid of financial repercussions. But Jennifer has a job. She doesn't have those usual motivations that one would be a bystander or look the other way. I think she was taking pleasure in this. I think she was desperate to hold on to her boyfriend at any cost. I think she's selfish, self-referential. All she talks about in those interviews is herself. This little girl was a thing, an object to be used, a plaything to put between her and her boyfriend to keep him in an aroused state so he would not leave her. She was used, plain and simple, by her own mother, the one person who's supposed to protect her.
That people are like.
Bombshell revealed in a newly released police interview of a murdered 13-year-old's mother.
It goes over my head.
Was this little girl pregnant? Okay, let's take a look at Mom Jenn Soto under questioning on this very topic. Listen.
We can go even worse. She's pregnant.
That's what questions last night led me to believe when we started talking about her period.
I was told that her and her friend, and granted, I'm male, never had a period, but that somebody found it weird that they were no longer on the same cycle. Could be different because she's a teenage girl. Could be that she missed her period. Have you ever found a pregnancy test at home? That wasn't yours?
I have two underneath the bathroom sink, but I haven't seen if they're still there or not.
Dr. Bethany Marshall, renowned psychoanalyst, I'd like to hear your analysis of what we just saw and heard.
Well, Nancy, this mother's voice is so vacuous. And by that, I mean empty. It's like she can't even come up with emotions about this. It doesn't have that dissociated, disconnected, traumatized sound to it. It has the sound of a woman who's never cared about her daughter at all. And all of a sudden, she has to pretend to care about her daughter, making stereotyped motions like putting her hand in her forehead, moving around as if she's sad, but she's not sad at all. You know, Nancy, there's only one reason to have a pregnancy test, is if you're anticipating you might get pregnant. I know she's not somebody who's, been charged in this case, but on some level, it's like she was participating in a crime all along and making sure that her boyfriend wouldn't get caught. The only thing between her and the boyfriend getting caught were these pregnancy tests.
Look at the video of her. I noticed, Dr. Bethany, that's right there, when he starts talking about the pregnancy test, as if that's a normal topic of conversation, is your teen girl taking pregnancy test. The mom, who has her arms closed in front of her, she's switching legs as she tries to cross them casually and then puts them in kind of a pretzel as he's asking about the pregnancy test. But what does that mean to you as you observe her?
Nancy, what I see in this video when she kind of puts herself into a pretzel, she's trying to act younger, regress, Progressed, more innocent than she really is. This is what little kids do. They sit cross-legged, they twist their legs around, they twirl their hair, they do all kinds of things. And it's kind of a classic maneuver, I think, behaviorally, is to act younger and more innocent than you really are.
I thought Robin Dreek, that was a sign of being on the defense.
It can be, but normally anytime you see a deviation from what we normally see in someone's baseline, it indicates a change of thought. It could be going back to a more innocent time in life. It could be blocking. It could be stress. And that's what I'm guessing here, is that this question caused stress and caused a change of thought in her.
I'm just curious about how long this had been going on based on the videos and pictures. Hannah McKenzie joining us, Fox 35. The